Hello everyone, my name is Rituro, and this is My Life in Silver League. It's 2v2 action against Jason Y, level 21 unranked Protoss player, and Human Tadpole, level 83 unranked Terran player, against myself and Grumpy Monk, but you may know him better as Eolan. The TT combo going up once again against a TP, so TTV PT. Lots of E sounds there. As we do this 2v2 batch here, or match on Crystal Caverns, a neat map here, part of the new map pool for 2015. There is a very hoppable Reaper Ledge here. Now, I tell a lie, I believe this was in last year's pool as well, so let's not get ahead of ourselves here. But there is a Reaper Ledge here that I always forget about, which makes sense because there is a long way for me to go to get to the main front door and the expansion with the mid-ground front door, which is much wider and tougher to defend. Two Zelnaga towers overlooking the high-yield expansions, which tells me, yeah, we need to get off the ground here. Quick wall in here by me and Eolan trying to get that front door secured. Shouldn't be a problem here. I mean, we know there's always the chance of cannon rush, but we're not thinking that'll be the biggest problem on a map this large. It would be detected fairly easily. Cannon contain could be a problem. Again, we're not overly concerned about that. So once again, I am the red Terran here, closest to the front door. Eolan, or Grumpy Monk, the blue near the Reaper Ledge. We have Human Tadpole at the back of his base, and Jason Y at the front. Let's skip ahead here to the good stuff as I head out on my scouting mission. I'm going to see what is what in their base. Now, I will find that this base is not completely walled off yet. No unfinished supply able to keep these close back. This might actually be a little bit too far to the right the more I look at it. This might not be a totally secure wall, and regardless, I got my barracks on the mid-ground there as the wall is complete, and Eolan focuses on, Eolan gets his over by the Reaper Ledge. There we go. Double racks actually by the Reaper Ledge. He knows what he has to keep an eye out for, and good job by him to do so. He's also got his first gas on the way, as do I, wanting to make sure I get the those add-ons as quickly as possible ready. Meanwhile, there is Supply Depot, and as expected, it is not an airtight wall, and I skip right past. It's going to be an early forge off the back of this Gateway Cybernetics core open, so not quite cannon rush, perhaps going for a fast expand maybe, although it is not quite forge fast expand if you're expanding after Gateway and Cybernetics core. Meanwhile, Scout revealing nothing in the backfield here. Good macro, though, by Human Tadpole, getting as many SCVs on the minerals as possible, get that core stuff on the field as quick as possible. As soon as this is done, I suspect we should be seeing Orbital, though he is delaying this in the name of getting more SCVs out. I don't necessarily agree with that. If it were me, I would be canceling that final SCV, getting the Orbital up and running. If we go back home here, Grumpy Monk has his, I assume, Orbital coming off the back of this here. But no, he is late as well. Have I got my orbital? Yes, I have my orbital. At least one of the Terran players here has their orbital up. Thank goodness it's me. And I will also be looking to do a fairly quick expand off the back of this with two barracks at the front here. I cancel the tech lab initially and go back for the reactor, wanting to pump more Marines onto the field here with my one production facility. There's the double gas here. Still no orbital for Human Tadpole. This is a very delayed orbital. Not sure I agree with this. In fact, I definitely do not agree with this at all, as more supply depots creating a very unorthodox, but I guess effective wall, and as my scouting SCV, I believe, has been killed. Twilight Council on the way here, so going very quickly up the tech tree is Jason Y here. Has his Stalker on the field, just the one barracks, no other production facilities here, so this is a very slow start here for a team, we'll call it Jason Tadpole. Meanwhile, Rituro, Eolan, we've got our, I have my barracks on, and got my second one on the way as I expand off the back of it. Orbital's up and running, decent supply window, got some gas being mined, not much. Meanwhile, Eolan going for the harder gases. He has his factory almost complete here. And now, finally, much that I think on comms, I remember him embarrassedly admitting that he had not yet got his orbital up running, but he has it now, and he's still ahead of Human Tadpole, buddy. You gotta get that orbital up and running. He has double refinery up and running here, so at least he has that. Gas is looking pretty solid. Double factory now, so we could be looking at a mech play. And again, if you're doing mech, you need solid income to pull it off, so still needs to get that orbital. 5 SCVs queued. Oh, you're going the exact opposite way here, Tadpole. He is, I will give him credit, he is expanding here, as is Jason Y, so they do have expansions on the back of this. Eolan has yet to expand. So in the overall macro game, they're actually slightly ahead, or they will be once they complete. I, meanwhile, have this second orbital. So I have 2 orbitals before Tadpole has his first. Oh, dear. Meanwhile, my worker transfer is complete here. 7 workers on the expansion, 10 at the main on minerals. Another moving up here to keep the supply block lifted. Oh, that is it's a full-on transfer to work on getting an engineering bay up and running, and it is indeed. Factory is done for me. That's going to be a tech lab. Did some siege tanks here. Third barracks is done. Tech lab is available on the second. Looking at the units count here, 24 workers to 6 marines for me, 23 workers and 8 marines for Eolan, 23 probes and 2 stalkers. That's it. Now here again, we see the dangers of not properly scouting. Had we known this could have been over, like completely over, and only 7 marines, but thankfully 31 workers for Tadpole, so he's got the worker count. But there are no mules to supplement it. There is an armory to supplement this, so it is definitely a mech play here off the back of 4 factories with Tech Lab. I have to assume this is Thor's, and I assume that there will be Thor's if you're going armory with 4 Tech Lab. I mean, unless you're doing some sort of awesome siege tank tech up play, but I don't think that's happening here. Meanwhile, back at home, we do have Stim on the way for me here to try and get tech advantage here. Eolan also working on Stim and Shield for his own. Not a bad idea. He has Medivacs on the way, so he's at least beaten me to Starport and getting his support on the way. He also has chosen the reactor and is going double Widow Mine. That could be deadly with no missile turrets in the base here, no cannons in the mineral line. That could be a rather hurtful drop there. However, we see Colossi coming up here, 2 robos and a robotics bay on the way, and this is definitely a full mech commitment here to Thor and Colossus with the Templar Archives coming up off the back of this, so we should be seeing Templar mixed in. Not a bad idea. And indeed, the first 2 Thors are on the way. Getting close to supply there is Tadpole. He is completely full up, still is not bothered to get the orbital. Not the best idea at all. He has transferred some workers over here. Could probably stand to transfer a few more, but opting to do it the slow way. Meanwhile, this is up and running here. I put on overcharge. I put on overcharge. Chrono boost. There we go. On the second Nexus at the natural, working on getting more probes and mining here. Looking at the income here, I am crushing all of them. Absolutely crushing all of them. See, Tadpole, this is why you get your orbitals. There's the scan. Now that's going to reveal indeed that we have an armory, that there are no detection, but there are a lot of factories and a Thor, so we know what is what. Second scan now, revealing, where was that scan going? Where was that second scan? I honestly don't know where that second one went. Well, regardless. Probe moving on here to the Zelda Watchtower to hold it. Good idea, get some vision. Meanwhile, Eolan has completed his expansion, and we are now on 2 bases each, looking pretty darn stellar. Not doing so with my gas production here, as I am only the 1 SCV on gas. Could certainly stand to diversify, especially with a 3rd starport joining the first 2. Both these running tech labs here, I would assume, for Banshees. Meanwhile, we're up to 5 barracks now, mixing in bio with tank. This is actually a pretty solid ball of army here. I could probably move out and win this, but instead it's going to be Eolan with a Doom drop. All Marines in the first 2, 4 Widow Mines in the 3rd, and a spare one just because those heals be good. Not boosting in just at saving. However, Tadpole has gotten wise to the scans, and finally, at the 12-minute mark, he will have his orbital. However, that is a good job there by Eolan, paying attention, seeing that Tadpole was waiting for that drop, backing out. I will scan again, and I will reveal, oh, Gina, there are no cannons here. There are no cannons here. Pylons, yes. I see the tech, and there is the extended thermal lance. So I know what is what, at least. And the scan's at least helping Eolan get that his drop point picked out here. Still nothing out of the ordinary here. And there is the drop. Thors will eat them for breakfast unless the Widow Mines can get into position. One at a time. There go the Widow Mines. Can they bury? Can they bury? They walk right into the middle of the army. Can they bury in time? They will. 3, 4 Widow Mines. That one will die, but the SCVs slaughtered. And in come the Stim Marines to take down the defenders. Down goes the Refiner. That's going to put into the Thor production, but the Thors will rip up these Medivacs. The Thors will get focused down here by Eolan. Not a bad little bit of micro, actually, all things considered. But it will completely obliterate his army. They will afterburner out. Oh, not able to save that one, but 2 will survive. Meanwhile, these SCVs, oh, these poor SCVs, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. Oh, no! The carnage. Now, luckily for Tadpole here, these mining SCVs and gas are actually tricking the Widow Mines and removing them. Only kills 8 workers all told. Meanwhile, those Colossi are dead as dinner. As I move up the front door to try and see what is what here, I see the 1 cannon as I go for the pylon. Back up for help here from the siege tanks, from the rest of my army as the probes evacuate. Good idea. Get out of dodge. Now, I think the opportunity to get a third base here, because why not? I've got the cash to do it. I have my own army up and running here as I've been very good at keeping my supply block somewhat lifted. 4 starports pumping out the Banshees. The one factory here for siege tanks and or Thors, as I now have pretty solid production here for both bio and mech. Another orbital on the way for my third base here, as I now have a soft container with 2 siege tanks on the low ground, punching away at this cannon. Down it goes, and in goes the army to wipe up the pylons. This will not supply block. Jason. Why? But it will certainly scare him, and it will definitely mean this base will fall unless the Thors... Oh, the poor Thors! They got stuck behind all of those supply depots. The Immortals also coming out to help out, and I think we know what to do here. It's time to back on up. Now, the problem is, I don't see any detection, which means Banshee here is a great call, especially if it can cloak. Now, I am falling back here because I don't want this army to completely die. I want to save what I can. And wisely, the army decides to hold off, not knowing what remains. And instead, they go after the rocks here for the high yield to open up another base option. Not a bad play at all. Meanwhile, the army has grouped somewhat. The Thors are still on the march. It's a scary-looking block of 9 Thors waddling their way forward. Colossi would be countered by these Vikings if they show up, but I don't see any on the field as of yet. The tech switch to Immortals is actually a pretty good one. And instead, here come the Thors going after the Vikings. And instead, here comes the Stim trying to focus down the army here. The tank opting to stay in pom-pom mode here. But it's not going to be enough here. The combined might of Immortal Thor just too good. And the mech will move on out. This is actually a scary-looking composition. Doesn't look like much. But if not countered suddenly, this could be a problem. Meanwhile, speaking of not much, the workers have transferred. Some workers have transferred over as the meal drop keeps my economy up and running here. Plenty of mineral, not so good on the gas. Really need to up that gas mining. The Banshees will scan. There is they will cloak, but there is the scan by the orbital, finally proving its worth there. 2 orbitals now, 4 human catapult. Now the value of orbitals. However, this bunkered up choke point is actually proving to be something of a problem here for the mech rush. And although there are Immortals here, the Thors have been brought down, and suddenly without their hardened shields, this is a problem here. Down go the Vikings to land and support as I opt to break off of the Immortals and to go for the Thor as well to help. Down they go, and now back to the Immortals. Oh, that poor SCV. He tried to be a Marine. He tried. And he paid. Scan revealing that is all there is for the army. Away go Eolan's Vikings to go regroup here, as I will fall back with the Banshee and try and keep the army together. My mineral production is actually skyrocketing here quite nicely with this extra base, although I am still short on gas. 6 Banshees at a time here off of 8 starports here for Eolan. He is not messing around with this Banshee play. SCV is also going to town here. Make sure these Vikings stay in the fight, keep their mineral investment going. Meanwhile, I'm looking here for proxies, checking for extra bases. Not a bad call, things considered. And it's going to be a fantastic call as Tattle picks this time to expand with no backup here as his level 2 plating, though. This is a good tech upgrade. Get that level 2 mech plating here. Great idea. However, he has used a drop here on supply. Bit of a waste of energy there. Whenever possible, you want to use it on scans and mules. These SCVs still so weak, though. Just one drop could wipe the floor of them. The Immortals, however, they have their hardened shields back up. They are coming in for round 2. At the same time, the Marines with their combat shields are hut-hutting over here, and they will detect this expansion. They are on the attack move command. Meanwhile, Grumpy Monk Eolan, he's going to try and take this high yield once the rocks have been brought down, and this SCV will indeed... Oh, they're on the move command. They missed the SCV in the transfer. However, I will not miss at all what is going down here. The combined Biomech army is no match, or these Immortals had no chance whatsoever. It's not a contest. The Hardened Shield's doing a decent job here, but not knowing what's going on, it's safer to just back off, and indeed, so will the Immortal. Now, I'm taking this opportunity to take a 4th base, because why not take a 4th base at this point? Going to the corner here, expanding, keeping my resource count up. Why not scan here? What does this scan reveal? This scan reveals not much anything. There's a scan right there. No proxies in our immediate vicinity, so I'm feeling pretty good about this. Meanwhile, my Marines were not close enough in that attack movement to actually stop the construction. Lucky for Human Tadpole. However, the stim is in. That should take care of the expansion. The float will be a good call. Is he going to get away, though? Is he going to get away? This should be it here. The Marines on their stim should get this into the red, and it will indeed burn. Meanwhile, more Thors marching out here as the rocks are down. Eolan is safely at the high yield here. Here come the Banshees. Siege tank sieged up here. They focus on that. The Banshees doing a great job here. The mix of army. There is the scan. The Banshees take the brunt of the offense. But the problem is that leaves the stimmed up army and the siege tanks alive. And the Thors melt away in the face of this combined force. And Eolan has gone pure sky here. Vikings and Banshees. Up go the Vikings. Keep an eye out for those Colossi. As I call for the rally here at the Zelnaga Watchtower. Jason Wise done a good enough job here of putting together a warp-in spot. Of course, Arms hasn't been able to get anything that requires a warp-in focusing purely on Robo, so perhaps not the best choice. Meanwhile, a little bit of friendly healing there from my partner's medevacs as this army is looking pretty solid here. As I float off my command center to the island, why not when you got the chance to do so? Put it somewhere safe. Meanwhile, the command center has indeed returned. Now the question is, can it be repaired in time? The SCV is moving over. Will he stop this thing by burning it out to 100 hit points? He should actually get there. As the Banshees now will scout out, looking for anything. Oh, that's cool. Little signs floating there, very nice. And it will indeed be repaired, but the problem is the army is not amused, and they will actually completely miss this. Eolan's army won't, though, and the Banshees take care of it. Goodbye, Mr. Command Center, and the SCV as well. Done like dinner. And now the army will come up to this. Actually, this is a decent contain here. Not contain as much as defense here. Good high ground by Jason Wise. The problem is he has not put anything right by his base, and instead, down will go the pylons. It's almost an Artosis pylon powering all of those cannons. Artosis or not, the Ravens and Banshees will shield the ground troops from the fire. Kind of a waste of Ravens there, but not to worry. Down go the defenses. Marine Thor, not so good here. There are the Banshees being scammed, but it doesn't matter because this conga line of Thors is stuck. Oh no, that's not where you want to put your Thors. Those poor Thors stuck, unable to join the fight, which means you can pick them up at your leisure. There's the Seeker missile from Eolan's Raven. That should take care of, boom! A little bit of splashdown. There's second Seeker missile on the way here. As I focus more on getting down these defenses, indeed, down goes the Nexus, down goes the pylon, powering all of those cannons, and instead the army will split its focus. Eolan's Banshee's taking a beating here, but never fear, here come the reserves. Oh, and my own Banshees show up to the party, and down go the Thors. Bit of a cloak there, excellent, well done here. Not even bothering to cloak these ones. Am I a little bit late to the party? I am indeed. Not paying attention there with my Banshees, but it doesn't matter. There are the Seeker missiles from the Ravens. Excellent here. One is blinked away, which is actually a good little bit of micro there for Jason Webb. The second one is not, and the Thors will just take a beating, and unfortunately, that licking will stop them from ticking. And there is still expansion oversaturated here. Human Tadpole, I have not noticed. I do have a siege tank on the low ground to watch for any stragglers. None can be seen as the army now punching its way through here. This level 2 shield will not get done in time, though the level 1 for everything else is good, so there's a slight tech on the field here for Jason Y, which is all things considered not too shabby. The problem is that the force is not diversified enough to do anything too little, too late. Now the army focusing down those pylons, taking production off the field here. All these immortals queued up. And now the Bio is moving out, stutter-stepping its way in through the army here as the Thors group up to try and get a counterattack here. Not actually building his Human Tadpole here. He had a chance here. Now he's trying to get those facilities all full production. He has the supply to do so as well. Probably trying to do something done here. I don't know what, but it doesn't matter because now, oh dear, here come the Immortals and Thors. Suddenly there's a bit of a counterattack here. And this weakened army might have overextended. Could not take down the pylons in time. I mean, there is a supply block going on here. And indeed, the army must back up as a little bit of a container with a missile turret trying to keep an eye on anything that might try to escape in the way of, say, a Dark Templar. It's more of a false attack than anything. Just put a little something there to try and keep an eye on the goings on. These Vikings actually going to go ahead and check in there. We'll indeed take a little bit of heat off of the Banshees, but it won't matter in the long run because of course they're dead. And now the army moving out here, scan revealing that we have actually left this base unattended, so the Marines will splinter off the main group and go after it. Meanwhile, an extra Nexus going down here for Jason Lacey tries to stay in this game. However, it will not last very long at all. The Vikings have landed, the Banshees are grouped, and this base is all done for. There's the GG from Human Tadpole. I respond with the GG, and by the way, there's my 5th base, no big deal. And he has left. There's the GG from Jason Y. He will be done there, so it is a victory. It is a victory for Rituro Eolan, defending against what was a very, very scary for a while there mech composition, but ultimately the lack of early economy doomed this pairing. Now, I will say this. Had Human Tadpole got his orbital early, had he managed to get that expansion up early, we would have been in a lot of trouble. That kind of economy pumping out Thors would have been all kinds of trouble. Luckily for us, though, they did not. And it is a victory for Rituro and Eolan. I'll say my own name right eventually. Just another little slice of our life in Silver League. Technically Bronze 2v2, but whatever. Thank you all for watching, everybody. If you like what you've seen, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, follow, like, either here on youtube.ca/steelswords, where all these videos are hosted, or on twitch.tv/Rituro. Twitch, of course, is where I record all these episodes live. And, of course, you can follow me on Twitter at @ThatRituroGuy. Once again, my name is Rituro. This is my life in Silver League. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.